Yo YouTube, this is my video for today and it's Monday the 2nd of September, so I think that's probably officially autumn now, I reckon. I don't know for sure, but September must be autumn surely. So my stats for today are as follows. Based on a fuel cost of 13.37 pence per mile, today I will have driven a total of 438 miles, 438. I will have worked for around about 12 and a half hours, maybe a bit less by the time I get home, and I will have earned gross before any expenses £290.290, and that was from 3 CX jobs. My fuel for today is £58.56. That's my fuel cost, which means my net earnings today, after taking into account fuel, will be £231.231. So, last week I ended up having the whole week off. My van had a bit of a service. I had my windscreen changed, and I just in the end just thought I'd have the whole week off, which was very nice. Didn't do anything in particular, just had some time off, not thinking about work. And then I was looking for work for Monday on both Friday and Sunday, and there was a bit of work available. There was some local jobs on Sunday that I bid on but didn't get them. So this morning I got myself sort of awake about 6:30ish, and I was looking for work, and it was really quiet. There was precisely 3 jobs, 2 of which I bid on, between 7 and 9:30. There was a 4th job, but it was picking up from Nottingham, which I wouldn't regard as being a local to me. So I'm not quite sure what comes up on my home feed, but maybe it's within 30 miles, I don't know. Anyway, the first job that came up was from Corby to London. I wasn't going to do that. That was going in the wrong direction and the wrong time of day. Next job that came up was from Spalding to York, which I thought was a tasty little job. Put a bit on that one. I thought I'd get it because I was really quite close to it, but didn't get that one. And the third job that came up was from Sleaford to Northampton. And I was really quite hopeful of getting that because I was one of the closest drivers to it, the pickup, and I put a reasonably good price on. So the job was it was advertised as being for a long wheelbase van, and the mileage was 72 loaded miles, and I was 20 miles away from the pickup, about half an hour away. And so I got the call, and I put a bid on £75. I got a call reasonably quickly, and they offered me the job. So I thought that was not a bad start. Oh, the Spalding to York job, I actually did win. I actually kind of won that bid in the end, but the time changed from a 9 o'clock pickup to 11 o'clock pickup, and so it wasn't really worth me waiting around just for that job. So I didn't put when the time changed, I didn't put a second bid on it. And in the interim, I got this job from Sleaford to Northampton. So I was half an hour away. It was a 10 o'clock pickup, and I left the house at 9:25 and got there at 10 o'clock and was off site and unloaded off site within 10 minutes. So they weren't too bad. There was one pallet, and it was going, as I said, to Northampton. And my thinking was, Northampton's a pretty good place to get work from. So although it's a bit of a later start, a 10 o'clock pickup, I'd be in Northampton for midday, and there was a pretty good chance, I thought, of getting a second job at least. So I made my way to Northampton. It was a really quite easy drive, and I did arrive bang on time at 12 o'clock. Well, a bit before 12. They were quite quick to get me offloaded, and I was off site at 12 o'clock. And so I parked up just on the road on the industrial estate outside where I dropped off and looked for further jobs. And it was a bit busier now. There was a trickle of jobs. Milton Keynes, Northampton, Nuneaton, sort of Coventry, Rugby, Banbury, which is in Oxfordshire. So quite a lot of jobs. And I gave myself the task, as it were, the kind of criteria of not to travel more than half an hour from where I was. So I kind of discounted everything that was over half an hour away. So that took out Leicester, Rugby, Nuneaton, all of those ones. It took out the Banbury one in Oxfordshire, and it took out, I said Leicester. Leicester was the ones as well. And that left me with Northampton, Milton Keynes really was the main ones. And a lot of those were going to London, and I thought I would avoid those for now. But I picked up a job, and I got a call from this at 12 minutes past 12. So just over 10 minutes after I started looking, I got the job. It was a small van job going from Milton Keynes to Leeds, and I was 35 minutes away from the pickup, 23 miles away. And I put a bid on, and I didn't think I'd get it, because the note said just a few boxes. And I thought there's loads of people that's going to be between me and Milton Keynes who are going to want this job. So I just went with a speculative bid of 80p a mile for a small van job. And I was also, because I was also half an hour away from it, I thought I wouldn't be closest, so it's not going to be something I would get. So I put the bid in, did some more bids, and then quite quickly got the call, as I said, and it's for 146 loaded miles. I put £120 on 120 for a small van job. So I made my way from there straight away to Milton Keynes and picked up there's a few boxes. When I arrived at the goods in place, which was the services of goods in and goods out, the guy that met me didn't know what I was talking about, so I had to wait for about 5 minutes while he went off and found out, and eventually he came back with a trolley with some boxes on. So I was in the right place, and the guy that then helped me load up was very helpful. So I then, the other thing I did today, just as a slight aside, which I do a few times, and I think it is a bit of overkill, but I just would say generally when I do this I get good vibes from doing it, and that's, I call the shipper when I've loaded up, and I just double check with them if I've not got any paperwork, can I just use the CX app to use it as a pod. And if they're usually fine for that, so it saves me writing my own paperwork. I then also can tell them what I've got loaded and what's my ETA going to be, and it just kind of keeps them in the loop, and I think it comes across as being quite a professional communication from the shipper's point of view towards a driver they don't know. So I tend to find, as I said, get good vibes off the back of it, and it's worth it. I'll probably do it most times. There'll be some shippers that I know I won't need to do it for, but for those perhaps who are new, I might just do it the first time and see how it goes down. It works best if the person you speak to is the person that gave you the job, not just someone else in the office. But to be fair, even saying that, sometimes the people in the office, they've shown some appreciation for me sort of letting them know that I'm on my way, loaded up and on my way. I know that all of this is on the CX app as well, so it is doubling up to some extent. But it's just that personal touch, I think, that people I think do appreciate, and I think it does lead to quite a regular positive feedback off these jobs I'm doing on CX as well. Not that I necessarily care about that too much, because I don't really get a job off the back of my feedback anymore, but it's just nice for my ego to have someone say nice things about me in writing. Anyway, so I made my way to Leeds up the M1. That was a really tedious journey because it's 50 miles an hour all the way up almost, and I don't know why. There's a bit of roadworks, but basically it seemed just not particularly helpful. I suppose it was keeping the flow of the traffic going better than if we were at different speeds, but it was just very tedious. So I did ring the customer that I was going to. It was one of the university buildings in Leeds. I rang him 10 minutes before I arrived and just got some idea about where I was going to go. And although he gave me some instructions that I forgot, I kind of had a sense about what I was looking for, and I remembered a particular road that he mentioned. And in the end, I'm glad I made the call, because it kind of prepped me. He met me at the loading bay and sort of got me into the post room. But also, I did actually come up with on the map the road that kind of rang a bell, and I went down the right road. If I'd missed that road, which I could quite easily have done, I would have ended up going into town and being stuck in traffic. Oh, the other thing about Leeds, which is I always tend to find, is I'm always stuck in traffic. I mean, maybe it's better in different parts of the day. Maybe I'm just looking getting it always at the end of the day. But whenever I'm delivering to Leeds, it's usually sort of the afternoon, and it's always so busy on the roads. It was, to be fair, moving, so I was getting places, but it's quite congested, I think, at least at sort of 4 to 5 time. So I got that offloaded, did the podding off, and then I parked up just on the site for a few minutes, quickly looking at where I could go to have a longer stay. I didn't want to stay very long in case there was cameras, or I suppose there would be on the university site, sort of monitoring my time. So I thought I'd get myself to a supermarket, and I found an Aldi. I sort of wanted to get myself towards the south of Leeds to give me to be the right side to go home if I needed to. But so I headed for an Aldi towards the south of the centre. But on the way, there was a job that I bid on that was from LS9 going to LS, let's say 27. There's only about 7 miles. I stuck a bid on for a long wheelbase van job of my kind of minimum, which is £60, 60. And I did get a call for it. And yeah, someone I've worked for before, and they said they couldn't afford to pay me that amount. They didn't say how much they could afford at this point. So I said, what am I taking, just in case it was a very big load or quite a small one. Actually, yeah, let me go back, sorry. The first job I did this morning, the long wheelbase van job from Sleaford to Northampton, I did wonder why it was a long wheelbase van, because actually it was just one standard pallet, quite low. It may have been quite heavy, maybe that was the reason, but it wouldn't have been beyond the remit of a small van. So that was a bit weird. So I got a fair price for that at the end, just a tad over £1 a mile. Right, so that was next. So it was a long wheelbase van job from Leeds to Leeds, 7 miles, so I put £60 on. When they called me, they said, "Can you do anything less?" I found out what they were taking. It wasn't a palletised type thing, it was a bit of a long sheet. So I thought, fair enough, it's not a massive job. So I offered £50, 50. And then they said they couldn't go over 45 because that's what they were charging the customer. Now, I never really believe that. I'm not saying they're lying. I hear it quite a lot. And I always say, well, if you're saying to me, this is how I see it, right? If they're saying to me, you've rung me on a £60 bid, and you want me to do £45, but you're not prepared to go to £50 as a compromise. I mean, that company makes way more than £5 profit over the course of a day. So they'd lose out on that one job, but they wouldn't lose very much, and they get it done with a competent professional driver. So I do believe that sometimes service can be a bit more flexible. But at the end of the day, it's no skin off my nose, so they wouldn't give it to me. I was fine not to, so I couldn't go any lower, that's fine. And I wasn't going to do like an hour and a half's job for £45. I mean, although it's only 7 miles, it was a good 20 minutes to get to the pickup, and then the job itself could have been another half an hour. Who knows, I might have been delayed being in the pickup, I might have been delayed at the drop off. It could easily last way over an hour. It's going to be an hour minimum, and maybe even an hour and a half, 2 hours if it goes wrong. And also it takes me beyond, it would take me beyond 5 o'clock, so I was going to end up in Leeds at about 6 o'clock, and it wouldn't have been particularly helpful for me. So in the end, we both chose not to go ahead with that. But I did get a job. I had a call at 28 minutes past 4. So it was about half an hour after I've dropped off, and by this point I was parked, because I'd got a phone call from the first guy. I'd parked up on a road, on a sort of bit of parking by a side road, so I wasn't at a supermarket, but I was sort of a bit away, I was somewhere safe. It was like a parking square painted into the road, side of the road. It wasn't labelled disabled or anything. It was just a normal sort of just a parking place. So I was there, we're looking for a job, and I got an offer of a job from a place called Cleckheaton, which I worked out was half an hour away from where I was, about 11 miles to drive there, and it was picking up a load, small van load, going to Daventry. And I didn't work out completely exactly how far that was, or how far from home that was, but in my mind that was getting me paid much closer to home. So I put a bid on, which again was quite competitive. It was £100 for 126 loaded miles, which was about 80p a mile again. And I got a call quite quickly, and it's a bit strange. What confused me here was the guy. The first thing the guy said to me was, "Are you going that way?" And I didn't know how to take that. I didn't know if that meant, if you're going that way, do it for cheaper. Or so that's how I took it. I took it as being that. I took it as being someone trying to knock me down on price because it's getting me home. And I said, well, I'm going near there, but I'm going in that general direction, I said. So, yeah. So either said, I'll call you back. And I thought that's a bit strange, but there's no sort of negativity about the call. It just seemed a bit weird. And I know why that happened now. So when he called back about 3 minutes later, he said that what I was doing was picking up a load from one of his drivers because he was returning a rental van back to the dealership that they had to rent out because of a broken down driver in the morning. So it made sense that he had to go back and check with his driver what time his driver was going to be at the point I was going to meet him. And the meeting place was actually the van dealership that he was taking the van back to. I'm sure it was that one. So he ended up saying that I would need to be there for about 5:10, and my sat nav was going to get me there for 5 o'clock. So it fitted in pretty well. So I said I'd do the job for him, and yeah, it will be fine. So I made my way to pickup point, and I then got the job through the job came through on the CX system after about 5 minutes. That always reassures me when that happens, because until that happens I'm not guaranteed to have the job. So I was sort of 5 minutes into my journey through the traffic, but I got there at the time I thought I'd get there, and the guy was arriving pretty much 5 minutes after I arrived. So he stuck his boxes on my van, well, he passed them to me from his van to my van. I put them in my van, and then I made my way towards Daventry, which was just basically getting back on the M1 and going down the M1 pretty much all the way to Daventry. And again, I was stuck in the 50 miles an hour bit for ages. And then, well, as I was driving down, I've worked out that the trip to Daventry from Leeds is about 2.5 hours roughly. And I was thinking in my head, is it about 2 hours? And I've been on the job. And then to get me home from Daventry, it's about 1 hour and 3/4, maybe a little bit over depending on traffic. And I was thinking about 1.5 hours. So I slightly underestimated the time, but I'm still happy to do this job because it's a nice amount of money, and for the whole day it gets me home at a reasonable hour, and I've made a reasonable amount of money. Now, a couple of things that I wanted to just clarify. At the moment, not through my choice, I must say, I am basically a part-time CX worker. And so I have got a target that I need to achieve over the course of a week, and I'm going to try and achieve that as best I can. But I think there is a value in working out what does a part-time CX worker earn in real terms. And it's not going to be an amazing amount of money. It might prove to be not enough money for anybody to do it part-time. But at least there's a value, I think, in knowing if you wanted to do this part-time and a similar sort of pattern to how I'm doing it, that what you can actually earn. Second thing I want to say off the back of that is I think the advantage that I have, which is a slight advantage over some people, but it is for me, is that I have got the ability, both in terms of stamina and home situation, to have long days when I'm working. So I tend to do 12, 13 hour days, and what I'm finding is I'm tending to get jobs in the morning okay, I'm tending to get a second job reasonably okay, but it's that third job. If I had to get home for 5 o'clock, I'd most often not get the third job. And because I can work late into the evening, I can therefore get that third or even fourth job of the day. And I think that's the difference that I have over some other people doing this part-time, is that my days working, they can be really quite fruitful days because I can extend the time that I work for at the end of the day. And if you can't do that, you're really going to have to get really only rely on 2 jobs a day. So you can definitely do 2 jobs in a day, like 9 to 5 day, but in the way that I do it at least. If you're doing it more locally, you can do more jobs, but you get paid less money. So yeah, there are a variety of ways of doing this job on the CX, and at the moment, this is how I have to do it. And it is, I'm appreciating, not a common way of doing it, but it works for me. Well, hopefully it works for me, we'll find out. And there was one more thing I was going to mention that I've forgotten what it was, so let me just think about that for a moment. What was the other relevant thing I was going to talk about? Oh yeah, that was it. Tomorrow I've got my therapy in the morning, but I've moved the therapy from 10 o'clock start to an 11 o'clock start, and I want to try and get one job in the morning before therapy, and then that will just add to my weekly total. I haven't got a job yet. I keep looking tonight, but I'm going to have to really rely on getting up early and doing a local job. The best I could probably hope for is a £60 job from Peterborough to somewhere locally like Boston or Sleaford or Spalding or Wisbech. And that's probably the most likely thing I'll get. But I feel reasonably confident that I will get something like that. But we'll find out. So that was it. That's been my day. After a week off, I do enjoy coming back to work. I do kind of miss it, but I do like having the weeks off as well. I do like being at home with my partner, but also when I'm out, if I have to work, this is the work I want to do. And at the moment, I do have to work. Roll on retirement, or semi-retirement at least. That'd be nice, but I'm not quite ready for that. Right, thank you very much for listening to my video. I hope that you are being successful, however you choose to define that for yourselves. And I'm being optimistic at the moment that we've got September, October, November, which will be hopefully busier and busier and busier up to Christmas. So I've got hopefully 4 months of reasonably easy pickings. But today wasn't necessarily an easy start. I'm not confident it will be very busy, but I'm hopeful that it'll be busy. Now that we've got some holidays over and done with, now we're into the autumn and winter. I hope it will be fruitful for everybody. Okay, farewell friends, I shall speak to you again on Wednesday after work. But on the next day I'm at proper work. Bye.